How's it going, guys? I'm Michael Hyde, and today I'm going to be talking about a little public lecture I went over by Dr. Morris labeled Pattern Formation in Nature and Why is the Universe Not Boring? Something I've always been interested in is like the math side of nature. So, all the stuff about the golden ratio, Fibonacci sequence, how all this stuff kind of adds up to make something beautiful and ornate. I've always been a big nature fan, so this one like really caught my eye. And one thing that I thought was really interesting is let's see what he calls the mask experiment. And this one he uses sand of two different grain sizes. He uses a larger white grain and a lighter and smaller black grain. And he kind of pours these into this glass, like almost 2D container, um, where at the same speed, where they fall and create a sort of pyramid. And this one was really interesting because I've seen the same sort of act of these larger and different colored grains making effects. Like especially I've gone to the beach when I was younger, and I've seen the same sort of ripple or like he calls it like oscillatory. It's like layered, but not equally layered. And so he goes over this experiment where he pours in all this sand at the same time in equal amounts, and they don't evenly distribute. What they do is the lighter grains eventually stack up in the center like this, and the larger grains slide in greater quantities towards the end, what's called the foot of the mound, and it ends up creating like there's this huge white section with streaks of black entering into it, and it almost looks like a tree. And I just thought this was really interesting because the gravity is affecting these the same, but he says that there's a dynamic sieve effect where the small ones go to the bottom of the flowing layer, and thus the large ones follow suit in whatever space isn't taken, and they form kind of like a dam at the bottom. And these end up like it leaves like a segregation of the aggregate. And it's really interesting that just gravity, a uniform force, can act upon a very similar object and create this pattern. And especially that I've seen it in my own life with waves having the same effect on sand. Something else he talks about is, let's see here, he goes over the same sort of interaction in a tube. So he takes a glass tube, fills small beads, large beads, and he spins the tube along its axis horizontally. And as it spins, it makes streaks of separated colors inside of this tube. And he speeds this up really quick, but he shows that even though it's a similar effect, there's no real explanation for this one. And I don't know, it felt so interesting that like there is. I'm gonna do some research on if this is found out yet, but it's interesting that there's some parts which function similarly to others in the real world, and there's still no known correlation or solution slash reasoning to why this stuff happens. Um, so yeah, that's my little talk. I really enjoyed Mr. Morris. He's very eloquent, funny dude. And if you guys could check this out, definitely he talks about a lot of different patterns. He talks about let's see here. He talks about the mantle of the earth. He talks about convection through the core and like biocomplexity even. So there's a little something for everyone. And check it out if you can. Thank you guys.